Hello, this is Ramon Cabanos from QDank, and today we're going to be talking about the first five things you'll notice when traveling to the Philippines. So, if you're a foreigner, listen up. This is going to be quite helpful for your travel here. The first thing that you'll notice right off of the airplane is the heat and humidity. It's just hot here in the Philippines. So bring your summer clothes. You don't need any jacket or sweater. The shorter your clothes are, the better. So bring your summer clothes and make sure you drink a lot of fluids and water because it is hot in here. The Philippines is just above or just at the north of the equator in Southeast Asia, and the Philippines consists of 7,107 islands. So we are practically surrounded by a mass of water, and that is one of the reasons why it's so humid here. I mean, literally, it is humid here. The moment you step out of the airplane and you're not in a air conditioned area or air conditioned room, within 10 minutes guaranteed you're going to start sweating. You don't even need to do much walking or work. You are going to start sweating within the first 10 minutes of being outside an air conditioned room. So that's one thing to look forward to when traveling here in the Philippines. If you're used to hot temperatures, then you're good to go. But if you're from a cold region of this planet, like from Canada or Russia, then yes, bring summer clothes and drink lots of fluid. The second thing that you would notice here in the Philippines is English. English is actually our second language, so everybody speaks it. If you're going to be talking to somebody here, let's say you're going to be asking for directions or just help or any general matter, the person that you're going to be speaking to would definitely understand you. As you notice, I'm speaking in English, and I'm not even an English major. I've just learned, basically, I've learned English since I was like 3 years old. So it is our second language. We use English for business, and you can see English words everywhere. Signage or directions. English is everywhere here. So you can expect the person that you're going to be talking to, or the local person that you're going to be talking to, would understand you speaking in English. They might not be able to respond to you in perfect English because they might be they could be having a little bit of difficulty relaying what they're thinking to you in English as a response, but I can guarantee you that they can perfectly understand what you're saying. So also, with that in mind, make sure that you're just careful on the things that you're saying. If you're used in saying profanities, you might want to tone that one down a little bit because like I said, Filipinos can understand your English, and if you're saying a lot of profanities, they might mistake you for being an arrogant person, even though it's just part of your everyday speech. So yeah, English is quite common here in the Philippines. The third thing that you'll notice is the traffic. So from the airport on your way to your hotel, you might notice that you often get stuck in traffic, or it seems like you're always in this jam. That's pretty much an everyday occurrence here in the Philippines. You see, the Philippines, particularly in cities like Manila, which is the capital city of the Philippines, we have such horrible traffic here. We have one of the worst traffics in the world, and but currently the government is doing something about it. The current administration knows that there has something to be done about it, and There's currently ongoing infrastructure projects, or there's currently government works going on for more infrastructures, more highways, more bridges, the widening of roads. And the reason why the traffic here is so bad is because number one is because of congestion. There's just a lot of vehicles. It's easy to get a vehicle here in the Philippines. It's practically one of the easiest countries in the world to get a car, unlike in Singapore or Hong Kong, where a vehicle would cost so much because of because of their tax. It's so expensive that people would rather just use public transportation. Here in the Philippines, it's not so. Here in the Philippines, people would still prefer to have their own vehicles, and public transportation here isn't really top notch. Now, that's another topic, but yeah, like I said, Filipinos would rather have their own vehicles. They would rather instead of just commuting. It's just much more, I guess, safer and convenient for a lot of Filipinos to use cars, to use their own vehicles. But another thing that's causing traffic is that here in the Philippines, especially in main highways like EDSA, we have this highway called EDSA. It's actually an avenue, but EDSA is also a highway that connects cities, certain cities, key cities in Metro Manila, and it's used quite a lot, 24/7, and basically, motorists are here in the Philippines might not be quite, elegant when it comes to driving etiquettes. What I'm trying to say is that Filipino drivers are perhaps one of the rudest drivers in the world, and coming from a Filipino, that's something that is a bit hard to say, but it is the truth. And if you are a foreigner and you plan to rent a vehicle here, that's one of the things that you will that I'm asking you to expect, because it will happen that you would see a lot of violations from other drivers. A lot of things that are wrong. People just cutting you. So the traffic here in the Philippines is quite terrible, and you can get stuck for hours, even if you're just going to be going to a nearby mall or venue. You can get stuck in traffic for a full hour before you can even find a parking spot for your vehicle. So that's one of the difficulties that you would notice. With that in mind, one of the things that you'll notice are taxis. If, like I said earlier ago, public transportation here in the Philippines isn't really top notch. So the next best thing that you can go for if you don't have a car is taxis. And taxis are numerous here in the Philippines, especially in Manila. You can easily get a taxi. There's just taxis everywhere, and they're usually white in color. But the problem with these taxis is that they usually rip customers off. What I mean is, they would usually ask for a higher fee or fare, even though there is a meter. Now, all over the world, taxis have meters where they charge you a certain amount for a certain distance. Here in the Philippines, it's just the same. But if you're a foreigner, they know one thing from you. It's either you're here for business or you're here for leisure. Either way, you've got money to spend. That's why you're here, because you've got money to spend. Now, what taxi drivers would do is they might, and I'm saying might because not everybody does this, but they might actually scam you. They might instead of using the meter, which is required by the law, they might actually charge you for a higher fare, and they can give you ridiculous reasons why they're doing it. They might say that, oh, because it's a hotel service thing or whatever, or it's a new fare approved by the government or some local department, government agency, and that's just wrong. So, as a foreigner, you also have the right here. You also have rights here in the Philippines. You have the right to contest this sorts of bad behavior from taxi drivers. So, if you're here in the Philippines and you're hailing or you're planning to ride a taxi, make sure that you tell the taxi driver to use the meter. That's it. Use the meter. Um, if they don't comply, you have the right to contest this. You have the right to report this to perhaps police or to the proper government agency. Now, there are also other options, of course, for public transportation. If you don't have a car, or if you haven't rented a vehicle here in the Philippines, you can also try Grab. Grab is just similar to Uber. It's a ride-sharing app that you can also book a ride either shared with other passengers, or you can book it privately for yourself. So that's one option here if you don't wanna ride the taxi. The fifth thing that you'll notice here in the Philippines is the divide of social classes. Now, what do I mean by the divide of social classes? Here in the Philippines, you would notice the differences, or basically you would notice the difference of social classes by their homes or their communities, and people live here side by side. So what I'm trying to say is, you would see a poor man's home right next to a rich man's home. Not exactly literally, but it's almost very concrete, or it's almost very obvious that you'd see this man is living in a sort of a shanty home, and then this other the house right next to it is a high-rise condominium or a high-rise apartment. So that's one of the things that you'll notice here. It's quite normal, but it's quite unfortunate as well. But like I said, with the divide of social classes, not just in homes, or not just in how their homes look like, but also in communities. There are communities here that are, we could say, poor, or in poverty, and you can again notice that with how their homes are built, or the infrastructures or available, or amenities available in that community. And you can also obviously tell which communities are rich or well off by being able to, by obviously seeing the infrastructures that they're in. If you're traveling here in the Philippines, I would say there are some places here in the Philippines that are generally safe for foreigners, and there are a lot of them. There are a lot of places here that you can go in. Being a foreigner, you don't have to worry for your safety, and you can just merrily walk around, take pictures, and nobody would bother you. People might look at you, especially because you're different. You look different. You're a foreigner. You could be Caucasian, or you could be African, you could be Arab, and it is quite a rare occurrence for some people here to see foreigners. So you can get you can have people staring at you when you go to local communities. But again, the Filipinos in general are harmless, so you don't have to worry for your life. But also keep in mind that there are also communities here that have a high rate of crime. Usually these crimes are caused by poverty. So when you are going to be venturing in areas that are high in crime, make sure that you just take care of your belongings. That's basically it. That's basically the crime that you have to look out for if you're going to be going to a poverty stricken area. it's just that usually it's just theft, something like that. But like I said, it's just poverty related crime, nothing more, nothing less. So it just make sure that you look after your belongings and you don't bring along expensive things with you, expensive watches or stuff like that. So yeah, just be careful. But like I said, coming here in the Philippines is I would say for every foreigner that I've met, they've always said that it's actually nice here. It could be better, but it is nice here. People, one thing that you would like here are the people. People here are easy to get along with. We understand the cultures outside our country, so we are very welcoming to foreigners. And like I said, we have a ton of respect for foreigners here. So I guess that's it. Those are the top 5 things that you'll easily notice when you travel here in the Philippines: the heat, the English of the people, the terrible traffic, taxi scammers, and of course the divide of social classes. So once again, this is Ramon Cabanos from QDank, and thank you for listening.